Hello, people of the YouTubes. My name is Lizzie, and I got a thing in the mail. I got a thing. So, one of my favorite art YouTubers, because he is funny and obnoxious, but consistent, teamed up with a company called Smart Art and made Jazza's Jazzy art box. And I wanted it. If you hear any scurrying, my guinea pigs are like 3 feet that way. I'm sorry. And even though I am not necessarily a good artist, I dabble. I do what I can. Meh. I still wanted it. I wanted to give it a try. I decided I wanted to make a video on it, because why not? I am definitely not an art YouTuber, so like, who knows how this quality is going to be. Not just of the art. Do you like my background? It's a blanket. Yeah. So, that's really random, but like, it's the only thing I can think of right now is just how much I love my background. And how excited I am to get into this box. So I'm gonna move the camera and we're gonna open it. And I know what art supplies are in here because it's not like a mystery box. He knows what's in it. I know that there's going to be one piece of art that is definitely signed in print. There is a chance for it to be actually signed by him, and then there's a chance of there being original artwork. I have the worst luck on the planet, so I highly doubt I got any of the original art or even one of the actual signed ones, but it'd be cool to see. So I'm gonna open it and I'm going to try to draw something with it. I don't know what. Probably not gonna be a person, cause like, well, no, I did have a person I drew not too long ago that I don't hate. I drew a self-portrait kind of thing that I might put in somewhere, that I don't hate. But there's a lot of things, I've been doing a lot of things like digitally with a Surface Book, so I can turn it around and draw on the screen. A little bit with my phone, but not as much anymore. And I do a lot of different layers. I haven't done much traditionally that I've liked in a while, so we'll have to see how this goes. But now let's get into opening the box. And now the art box. Knife. Okay. Now, first bit, we got Jazz's face. I haven't decided if I'm going to cut that out yet. We will see. First we get, okay, we got a coupon code for Smart Art. Probably not going to use that. We got a description of everything that's in the box. We got a bookmark with Jazza on it. Yep, we just got the regular signed in print, which is nice. I'll find a nice place for it somewhere. A nice mechanical pencil. I had some artist friends that use this pencil. Nice pencil. A blue Prismacolor Color Erase. the idea for these is for like foundation lines. I'm definitely going to be making use of that. Some graphics fine liners in various sizes. We got a Uniball Signo white gel pen, which will be nice. We got a Tombow brush pen. We got another Tombow brush pen. We got some Faber-Castell Polychromos color pencils. Kind of excited to try those out. We got some Spectrum Noir alcohol-based markers. This is a custom box and this is a custom set. You can buy these markers, but you can't buy this set. Set's only available in this. And once the thing sells out in a couple days, you can't get this individual set again. But these are nice. They have a brush nib, which is cool. A little bit of a sample package of his favorite blending card, which I'm probably not gonna use because I don't want to ruin it. We will see. Got an eraser, just a nice eraser. We got a pencil case, which is like his favorite pencil case, but his is leather. This is a canvas. I think that's it. Let me make sure that's everything we should have. The 2 brush pens. Yep. And then we got a sketchbook, which he says you should be able to use the markers which is nice. Then we just got some tissue paper and some bubble wrap. I'm gonna move this out of the way, and I'm going to open some stuff and swatch some stuff and see what I think. I don't think I have a sharpener nearby, so I have to go get a sharpener. But let's start opening everything. Oh, it even snaps shut. Oh, that's cool. That's cool, that's cool. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get a pencil sharpener. Okay, so originally I was going to talk through the swatching period, but it took way too long and this video ended up being almost an hour. It's still like 45 minutes, but like I didn't want to make it much longer, so I ended up speeding through this. So I found a sharpener, sharpened the pencil, started swatching everything, looking through the paper, figuring out where I wanted it to go, because I didn't want to do it on the first page and like the second fold over kind of stuck together. But it's a good notebook. It's nice and hardy, and the only real problems I had with bleeding was when I was like trying to lighten things with like the colorless blender. But initially I really liked the super soft brush markers, the dual tip one and the one that came in the graphics set. But I ended up, in the final pieces I ended up drawing, actually preferring the one that had all the Japanese on it. Just because it was firmer and the brush didn't move as much. So I still got the nice like brush pen look, but I had a lot more control, which I liked. I really liked all of the stuff. The mechanical pencil's nice. Like I had mentioned, I had some artist friends that use that pencil, and one of those friends actually got a degree in fine arts. And then the color erase was nice, especially when like I draw digitally. I end up with like 15 layers just of various sketches in various colors, just because that's just how I'm able to get something that I like. I really liked the colored pencils. I haven't actually really used anything really artist grade in terms of colored pencils. My favorite is Crayola. I do have some like fancy like woodless colored pencils, but I don't know if I'd necessarily call them artist grade. I bought them for coloring books, so. But I really liked them. They were able to get some nice flat color. I just don't know how to use them. I'm not really sure how to blend them. I haven't really used much in a while. And I didn't quite have the colors I wanted. So you'll see when I get to the point of like drawing and sketching and stuff. But like I kind of felt limited a little bit. Only because I'm used to like buying like the 50 pack of Crayola color pencils, and you have so many colors to choose from, and this only had 12. It was a little more challenging. Getting into the spectrum markers, I really liked them. They were really fun to use. I like the brush nib. I don't, like I said, I don't do a lot of traditional art anymore. But the brush nib was really nice, and I almost feel like I might want to try printing out some of the line arts for some of the pieces that I like, and try coloring them traditionally, mixing maybe the spectrum markers. And I got some markers from when I used to work at Michael's, the artist left ones. Those ones just don't have a brush nib. I do like them. I didn't feel quite as limited. I did have some issues when I was coloring later because I wanted a certain type of color and I wasn't getting it, and I tried to lighten a color and it ended up bleeding and going through to the next page. But generally it wasn't bad. I didn't necessarily feel limited, but I also purposely chose colors for certain parts based on the colors I had instead of really trying for mixed colors and stuff like that. So I just go through all the swatches. It's kind of hard to swatch like a colorless blender because one of them is colorless, but it was okay. The colorless blender is basically just alcohol and a pen, so like it does what it does. So like you can use it to kind of lighten, you can use it to make colors blur. I didn't really use it much, but it was okay. So I had no idea what I wanted to draw. Initially I was like, I didn't want to draw a person because I have a lot of like issues when it comes to like whether or not I like a person I draw. There's a lot of things that I don't like, but initially that's just kind of what I gravitated to because I didn't know how I would maybe draw like something not a person, because that's all I really ever draw, because I am an anime nerd, and so I try to draw a lot of anime-esque characters in this like weird hybrid of chipified and not chipified, because I try to make it a little more realistic, but I tend to base a lot, especially like my facial features and stuff, in a more chipified manner, just because that's how I am. So initially I try to do something out of the box, because normally I draw straight on, like trying to figure out what you want to do with your life when it comes to drawing. Straight on, feet slightly apart, hands either at your hips or like in like a peace sign. So I tried to challenge myself. So I tried to draw something at a 3/4 view. I tried to draw like a action pose, but I was thinking like, oh, I can draw it at like a cool angle, and that didn't work. Everything felt way too off in terms of positioning, making sure everything was foreshortened properly and stuff. It just looked too wrong. So eventually I moved away from this, but I did try to take this and do something similar, in like, instead of a landscape view, into a portrait, but I'm still trying to salvage it here. I kind of tried to do that hairstyle, but I really don't get how to do bangs like that. Like, I can't, for some reason, draw like the spiky chunks of hair like I want, or like the anime hair. I really can't do it. And so I eventually don't do that. So here I am switching over to a more portrait view, and I am a trash human being and actually trace a circle to start my heads, because I just can't. The fact that I can't start with a straight circle messes with my ability to like figure out where everything goes, because just everything looks wrong. So initially I traced a donut squishy, but I then went and traced a cap to some peel off face mask that I had sitting on my desk, because why not? It's what I had. It was the right size. So I actually didn't initially hate this. So I kind of based it on like my memory of doing karate as a kid. So I tried to do a basic kind of pose. I mean, it still looked a little weird because of the twisted body. But I still tried, and I didn't initially hate it. But I ran into some issues doing the line art. But it's not, I didn't initially hate it. It's not the worst thing I've drawn. I've kind of was a little proud of the like kind of part of action pose that I was doing. I mean, I can't do folds in clothing to save my life, and like foreshortening the face is like the bane of my existence. But I didn't actually hate it, and I attempted the bangs again. It didn't work out. I just really hated how they ended up going. And eventually I changed how the bangs went. But here's my attempt to drawing like the chunky straight bang, and that's not working out. And I even tried to have the eyes go off into another direction, and that didn't really work. I realized like everything's like slightly upside down, just based on the angle in which I was filming. But it doesn't really matter, because I wouldn't necessarily call it good anyways. I definitely wouldn't call myself an artist by any means. I definitely would call myself artsy. But I still try. I have a lot of people in my life and like people I watch online that just kind of inspire me to try anyways. I had a lot of friends growing up that were really artsy. Like, even you can't really see it on this one, but maybe in one of the later ones, like part of how I figure out like anatomy in terms of like the hip placement was something I picked up from a friend, Krista, as a kid in high school. She was one of my friends that could draw, and I asked her to teach me once, and that was one of the things she taught me. Here's me not liking it and thinking if I want to go try something else, and I keep trying to fix it and trying to save it. But then I had another friend, Nina. She's the one that uses that mechanical pencil and like went on to get a degree in fine arts. Her art style is like super whimsy, and I really wish I could get anywhere close to what she does. I even had a friend, my friend Leslie. She even would make money off of her art, and
So every time I see anybody draw anything and stuff, I'm inspired to keep trying, despite like, oh, I'm off the screen there. Oh, lovely. To keep trying and keep drawing and trying to improve, but I really haven't done anything traditionally like this in a long time. So trying to figure out what even I wanted to do was a chore and a half. I have some things that I've drawn to try to use for like my Twitch channel. But I haven't been able to like implement them, and like here's me trying to figure out a different way to do the eyes because I wasn't liking them. I really hated how they came out. I liked the first set of eyes better, at least from this angle, because like I said, everything's upside down because I can't film properly. And I don't feel like flipping it around because I just barely figured out how to speed it up. I've never had to time-lapse anything before. Here's me figuring out that I really don't like that hairline. So I go with my go-to of side part swoop to the side, which is partially because that's how I do my hair. So like I always pseudo kind of base everything off of myself apparently, and everything just gets a side swoop to the side. So I definitely like that hair more. I really hated how the eyes came out. So here's me starting to ink. So I ended up taking the 0.2 pen and going over everything first. Eventually, after erasing it, everything lightened by a lot. So I ended up going over it again with the brush pen, and I initially started with the dual tip combo brush pen, and I ended up really ruining the face. It was real bad. You'll see in a minute, but it was not good. And so I ended up picking up the other marker to try to like finish out the body to like test it to see if it was a better option, which is where I learned that I preferred that one. And here's me just drawing upside down, half off the screen, because I have to be like 4 inches from it. You keep seeing a little bit of my hair and my head in the corner. It's also like really hard for me because the screen for my camera is on the other side, so it's like really hard to like see if I'm in view when I can't even see the view. So like everything erased okay. The blue, because I tend to be very heavy-handed, didn't want to erase a lot, and here comes me ruining the face. That brush pen is super soft, and if, like I said, I tend to be very heavy-handed, so I ended up basically just like flooding the face with like way too much of the ink, and it did not go well. Like you see, like the chin is touching the mouth, and like I tried to fix it, and like I even tried taking the Signo pen to see if I could clean it up a little bit, but then I did a test where like I drew some of the Signo pen on there and then tried to see what the Copic markers would be like over it, and it didn't go well. You were able to see it, so I decided not to do that. So this is me trying to figure out what else I want to do, if I wanted to just give up on drawing a person or if I wanted to draw something else. And I don't think I filmed me testing the other pen, but I ended up moving on. I ended up drawing this bunny dude. You can't see quite yet because I haven't quite decided that this is where I decided he's going to be a bunny. Because, like, I had drawn this other character, he was humanoid, but he had, like, fox ears. And, I liked how I had drawn the back of the head going into the ears. So I wanted to do that for this bunny. I'm not quite sure how I feel about how his mouth came out, but it wasn't too bad. I actually kind of like this one. He ended up looking a little nerdy. But I didn't like him going on for a while either. And, like, I kind of like drawing, those are, digigrade legs. I kind of like drawing those. They're kind of fun. I find them a little easier sometimes than, like, people feet. So you can see a lot more of, like, my construction process here. His hand ended up being way too big, and I ended up taking, you don't see it because I didn't film it, I ended up taking this with me to work and fixing a couple things that I didn't like while I was there, and drawing a second picture to use to try to color. But you can see how I do, like, my construction, where I draw the rib cage, I draw the hips, and then I draw a lot of, like, ovals connecting circles at joints, which I don't know if necessarily is a good way to do it, but it's the way I do it. It's how I figure it out, and that's basically how I end up drawing. Like, this is where I kind of hybridize people and, like chibis, is because I would draw chibis in just sets of ovals, like the anatomy in sets of ovals. This one, it's like, okay, he can have a neck, he can have shape to his body, he can have like more than like a vague shape to his, like, elbows and ankles. I'm also really not good at drawing men's haircuts, like spiky short hair, because, like, I'm not really good at figuring out where the hairline's supposed to go, because half the time my heads aren't in the right shape anyways. They're just a circle with, like, a vague chin drawn on it. But I liked how his eyes came out. It took a lot to get me to, like, not hate his mouth. Because, like, he is a bunny person, so he has a very slight snoot. And trying to figure out how to get the snoot to work going into, like, a pseudo-humanoid jawline, because he has a sort of humanoid body, was kind of frustrating. And, of course, this is more of my generic body pose, more front on, one hand raised, one hand either on your hips or holding something, so he's holding a book. I actually didn't mind him. I didn't hate the original hand that I drew necessarily. It was just way too big for, like, compared to his other hand and, like, him in general. So I ended up making it smaller later when I took it to work to try to mess with it to get it to something that I didn't absolutely hate. So here you can see I fixed his hand, messed with the book a lot, fixed his feet. That one foot does look a little bad, in terms of it doesn't always look like a foot, but I tried to make it look as much like a foot as possible. So here I am inking. Again, I did the same thing where I went through with the 0.2 and so because I knew it was going to lighten, and I don't really like how the book came out. The book is a little wonky, but I don't really care. It wasn't really the point. The book wasn't supposed to be, like, the topic of the thing. I do like how his hand kind of came down. His pinky's a little fat, but I don't hate his hand. His foot's a little messed up. The one front foot there. But I don't care as much. I just kind of was glad that I was able to get something that I didn't hate. So I didn't erase as well as I probably should have. And like there's a lot of smudging along the sides of the page because I have the inability to not drag everything everywhere. And I didn't erase as much as I should. You could see them through, maybe not on camera because couldn't really see, but like you can see it on in person, like underneath like his shirt and stuff. You could see some of the foundation lines, but it wasn't so bad. So I kind of, when I line, I kind of pick arbitrary spots and like kind of go based on there. And like I feel like there's probably a better way to do it. Oh, I messed up the line as a neck too. I feel like there's a better way to do it that isn't so arbitrary, but like it kind of works. His feet look a little better after going through it with the brush marker, but like his toes are just all kinds of wonky. I don't really hate his shirt. I kind of like how his shorts came out. This is me deciding if I want to continue with that or if I want to go to the picture I drew on the next page, and I decided to continue with him. I originally colored him with a very light gray, and I drew another line there. I don't know why. I think it's because it looked like he had like a dent in his head, but I think that's just because I drew the other curves at like a wrong angle, but it's okay. So I colored him with a light gray at first, just kind of lay down a base color. There was some smudging on his nose, and I just chose to ignore it and just move on because I already wasn't super happy with what I had drawn. But I just wanted to get something done, especially since it had been like 2 days since I had started this video, and I just wanted to get it done. So this is where I kind of like messed up because I wanted a light pink for his nose, but I only had a red, and there he looks like Rudolph. So I tried to lighten it, and it kind of lightened, but it didn't go as much as I wanted. And then I tried to see if I could pick up some of the red with the blender, and that didn't work. So there I just tried to color in a little bit of it and then see if I could smush it around with the blender. That didn't really work at all either. I think I ended up just like throwing a little bit of the tan in there, which didn't look bad. I kind of ended up liking it. I think I threw some other colors in there with like the color pencil later, but I did this one mainly just with the markers. Here's me making him a ginger because he felt like he needed orange hair. He just kind of looked like he needed it. And I have this tendency to give all of my characters green eyes, just because I really like green eyes and always kind of wish I had green eyes, but I have hazel. So they can sometimes look green. So I added a little bit of blue in there to just kind of blend it out and like add some contrast and do like a nice gradient with eyes. I kind of do that when I color things digitally as well. Give him some blue shorts, and I didn't know what to color his shirt for a while because I kind of wanted to do red, but I do red a lot, so I decided to go with the yellow. And I don't know if you can see a little bit of the construction lines through the yellow, at least in person, not so much on the camera. Decided to go with green for the book. A little bit of beige for his toesies. And this is where I started like shading. And I do very simple, like sort of cell-like shading, just in like certain parts where I think it actually would be darker. I don't ever pick like a general light source because I just don't do that. So I just kind of generally shade wherever I think it would be darker. So I just went one darker with the gray. I tried to do that with the pants and it didn't really work, but I was able to do that with the yellow. use that same gray. Realistically, I should have used like a slightly darker yellow or maybe even the orange, but I didn't really have the kind of tone that I wanted. Here's me adding some more to like his nose and his mouth area. This is kind of where I started to like not hate his nose and his ears as much. Was when I started adding some more of the gray and shading. I ended up going one more darker with the gray shade to get some nice shading for his shorts. Here's me finishing up the eyes by drawing in his pupils with a marker, and then I do the shines of his eyes with the Signo. I do end up taking some of the colored pencils and like trying to highlight a little bit with his eyebrow, his hair, try to get a more pinky tone with his ears by like bringing in some red in the pink, so that was not bad. For some reason, trying to get the white of the paper of the book to look a little more white, add a little bit of brightness to his shorts. Tried to do the same with his shirt, but it didn't really work out like I wanted. Add some better contrast with the book, with the greens of the color pencil. And I had this other drawing that I ended up doing, and I decided to ink it, and it's pseudo supposed to be me, but it's like way too thin and not how I usually draw myself. But I decided to color this one in mainly with the colored pencils to see if I liked them and it could get the kind of colors that I wanted. Here's me trying to figure out if I could get a skin tone that I liked, and I couldn't really figure it out. And this is like where I felt like a little limited, because I couldn't figure out how to do a skin tone, because I've never had to with colored pencils before. Like if I need to color a skin tone, I grab the peach Crayola colored pencil. I kind of like how the hair came out. It's a nice brown. I put a lot of different colors into the colors of the eyes because it is sort of supposed to be me. So they're supposed to be like hazel, and I have a lot of different colors in my eyes. Here on camera, they just look mainly brown. This shirt is actually based on a shirt that I own that has gray sleeves and a blue body. So I tried to get gray because I only really had black. And I think I did okay. There's a lot of white spots in the color because I laid down the black really lightly. But the shirt's kind of heathered anyways, and then I just used the actual black to shade because I was like kind of shading as I went. I ended up doing the skin tone with the markers, just because I had something more closely close to a skin tone there. And then here's me doing the colors, adding the shading between the two blues, and whatnot. And then I go back with the other blue and darken and solidify the color. Still probably not the best way I could have done it, but it's how I did it. Here's me trying to figure out what I wanted to do with the shorts, because like I don't own shorts in like this color, but like it was just kind of, I couldn't think of what else to color them, so I decided to go with like see if I could get like a teal color, like a bluish green. I think they came out okay. I ended up shading them with black though, because like I didn't really have any other darker color that was good to shade with for that, so I ended up shading them with black. It's not so bad. I probably wouldn't choose normally to shade it with black. I didn't like shade it all with the shoes. I really didn't like how the feet came out. They're way too close to the bottom of the page. So I just kind of colored them in magenta because I had like a similar reddish tone pair of shoes. So here's me. I picked the pale tan for the skin tone. I am more pale than that, but I didn't feel like fighting with it, and it was close enough. And then I ended up shading it with the light gray, but like you could really tell that the gray was there. So I ended up going back through with the tan afterwards, and like blending it in with the tan to try to get the tan color to come back through, but like in a different tone. And it worked out quite well. I do kind of prefer the markers to the colored pencils. The colored pencils are good. I just felt almost less limited with the markers in terms of like drawing people like how I do. So here's me finishing off the eye by drawing the pupil and the signo. And then that was it. Well, as you can see, I chose to cut out the little cardboard Jazza face. And mainly just so that I had no excuse to save the box, because now it has a big ol' hole in it. And I just kind of really wanted to always have Jazza's face nearby. So, yeah. So I really liked the box. I liked all the art supplies. A lot of them I'll have to, like, figure out and learn, but they're not bad. I will leave a link in the description for the box. They're stopping selling it on the 31st, and as I'm filming this, it's the 30th, so you have today. I'll also leave a link to Jazza's art channel, Draw with Jazza, where he has a lot of really fun things. His videos tend to be really funny, very art related, and kind of like, they're not really like tutorials, but they're still like beginner friendly. So if you just wanted to try something dumb that he did, you can. So that's cool. Anyways, I will see you all in the next time that I have the urge to make a video, and who knows when that will be. I am going to try to start streaming. It'll probably be earlier in the morning because I work nights, but we'll see. Anyways, I will see you all later. Bye.